Okay, thank you.
Okay. Your Holiness, thank you so much for joining us this evening and for sharing your wisdom, especially during these difficult times. This was an extraordinary opportunity to be able to renew this dialogue with you. I want to thank Your Holiness's audiovisual team, Tenzin Takla and Seton Samdup. They have been extraordinary partners with us for this evening. The miracle of technology of bringing people in from all around the world. Thank you also to our good friends in the Office of His Holiness, Seton and Chimi. I want to make a special note, Your Holiness, and that is the very first week of my working at USIP in 2015, I had the remarkable opportunity to meet you when you were here in Washington. This is my last week at USIP. And so having the opportunity for this conversation with you tonight is a wonderful and heartening bookend to my time at an exceptional institution working with exceptional people like these peace builders. We're so grateful for the partnership with you and with your office. I want to give a special thanks to the USIP Vice President for Applied Conflict Transformation, David Yang. David is with us here this evening. He will be carrying on this remarkable partnership, and we look forward to continuing the work together. And finally, I want to thank our Fearless Generation Change fellows. I want to thank them for continuing on with their extraordinary work, with their courage and their compassion, despite a lot of fear, a lot of despair in the world. They are the light of the future, and we thank them enormously. It is so uplifting to have a chance to spend this evening with them and Your Holiness with you. Thank you again. We're very grateful.
As I already mentioned, time passes, situation changing. So we need new thinking, new outlook. The things are changing. Our thinking still remain old way of thinking. Then it automatically creates your thinking and reality. So, youth people, you better sort of the equipment to think new look, easily accept new reality. Old people, I think generally like me, old people, then old thinking. My case, little bit exception. Age old, but thinking, I think quite realistic and quite young. So the young people, you are the, as a generation who make contribution for the new world. So now time gone, you should not think old way. You should accept a new reality. Basically, as I mentioned earlier, oneness of 7 billion human beings, then global warming, these things are now new thing. So the younger generation now should open your mind. Although no third eye, but 2 eyes should open. So for that reason, this kind of discussion, you may get some new idea, and also I get some new idea, so very useful. So you, since last, I think several years, you organize, you see, because the youth, right? Also, I think annually meeting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I very much appreciate. Now in future, also, you see, please you organize now this kind of meeting continuously. Okay.
We will do so.
Thank you.
David Yang will work with Kalden Lodo to continue the partnership.
Thank you. So, there is some contradiction. My age, as I mentioned earlier, you see, 86 old, but my face looks younger. and similarly, with this face behind there, my brain even younger. I always think more realistic way. So therefore, see, like this kind of meeting, I also learn something useful, and you also, you see, learn. Now we continuously work for humanity, no matter how big, small contribution for better world. It is our responsibility. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Namaste, namaste.
Today I'm filled with overwhelming feelings of happiness and joy to welcome His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, to our community of learning. I also welcome our guest of honor for today's program, Ms. Nagma Morarji, special guest, Mr. Ranjit Bajaj, Advocate Kushal Sharma, Mr. Shakti Singh, and Mr. Nikhil Kashyap. To all those who are watching this program on their computer and mobile screens throughout the academic and legal community from around the world, I welcome you to this auspicious occasion. At present, the world is passing through very troubled times. On the one hand, this disease called COVID-19 has taken the lives of so many people worldwide, and on the other hand, our lives have come to a standstill in a way hitherto unknown and unimaginable. So many people have lost their lives, their loved ones, and their livelihood. This disease has not only cast a shadow of gloom on the world, it has also reminded us about the fragility of life itself, which we had mistakenly taken for granted. During these unprecedented circumstances, we are forced to turn inwards and explore the hidden resources that lie dormant in our consciousness. Towards this end, we seek the guidance of His Holiness as to how the eternal values of compassion and hope can steer us to redemption. Let us all be fully alert to and accepting of His message to live responsibly for our sake and for those who will follow us on this earth. Friends, we are most fortunate to be in the presence of the great spiritual master. Please join me in welcoming His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, to this forum. Now, I would like to request Your Holiness to address us with the following invocatory verse. As in the dark we grope, when humanity seems going down the slope, wondering how with this pandemic to cope, pray guide us on the path of compassion and hope. Thank you very much.
Thank you. When we face some problem, some difficulties, then as Shantadeva, the 8th century's great sort of scholar of Nalanda, in his writing, Kasa, Juju Kasa,
Bodhisattvacharya avatar. Bodhisattva.
Bodhisattva,
Bodhisattvacharya avatar.
Bodhisattvacharya Avatara. He mentioned in it, when we face some problem, then we should analyze if that problem can overcome. Then you see, no use, no need to worry. Work hard. If the situation no way to overcome, then no need to worry. Just we can't avoid that. It's very realistic sort of expression. So now we should think whole world. When we face some problem here and there, then are sort of short-sighted and narrow-minded, then that problem appears unbearable, very, very huge one. If you see, we look from wider perspective, then that problem, although it's a sad thing, but you see, compare the whole sort of holistic view, the small. Now, according the great Indian also masters in ancient time, you see, they mentioned the several galaxies. Even in galaxies, there is beginning, there is end. India's logical sort of explanation, anything due to its cause and beginning, there must be end. It is logical. So the whole universe, whole galaxies, you see, a few, I think at least 1 billion years. And our sun also, you see, there was a beginning, so logically there will be end. So now I think one indication our galaxies, I think our galaxies, you see, towards the, according to the Indian ancient text, you see, the cause of ending whole universe, one occasion, you see, fire, one occasion, water, one occasion, air.
Wind, no. Wind.
Wind. So now, our time, they end with fire. So that's already mentioned in ancient Indian literature. Now I think scientifically, there are indications, global warming. This is the indication. Now we go towards the fire,
Yes.
ending our whole galaxy's fire. So according to some scientists, you see, they say next few decades, the global warming reach such a level, all the rivers will dry. And then a green world become a desert. So we have to think the more holistic. Then the present human generation's problem is tiny. Like this illness, very sad. In this country also, now number of people getting this illness.
Yes.
Very sad, very sad. But these are, again, you see, Indian literature mentioned, you see, the ending our planet through violence, through war, and then illness, then famine, starvation. It mentioned. So now these are natures of the process. So therefore, we have to think more holistic, and at least I think our lifetime, no danger. And meanwhile, you see some of these illness, there are some scientists now already investigate certain sort of medicine. I think India's 1,000-year-old is a medical system, Ayurvedic. Also, you see, may have some sort of significant, help. So as I mentioned earlier, you see, we must try to face this illness. Then meantime, you see, even you see those people who already get some problem, then should not sort of feel too much helplessness. It is part of nature's sort of procedure. So therefore, it is part of nature. Meantime, try our best to use the medication. I think sometimes I feel Tibetan medicine, medical system, very similar Ayurvedic medical system. Then plus Chinese ancient medical system. The Tibetan sort of also the medical history, they say in 7th century, 8th century, under the leadership of Tibetan Emperor Chisung Tezen, you see, it takes some kind of semi-international medical conference. The Tibetan, local Tibetan, also the
Medical system.
medical system, and then Ayurvedic from India, then Chinese medical sort of expert, some kind of international sort of meeting about medical system. So modern Tibetan medical system combine Indian Ayurvedic, then a Chinese tradition, then local Tibetan tradition, like that. So now, see, all facility, they are very easy. Some invite some Chinese, ancient Chinese, sort of some expert about ancient Chinese medical tradition, then Indian Ayurvedic, then some Tibetan, then some modern scientist, Western also the medical system. So I think worthwhile take some kind of conference on discuss and how to deal this problem. So then we have to, as I mentioned earlier, we try our best to tackle this problem. In spite of that, you see this, still also the overwhelming, then should not feel too much sort of anxiety, too much worry. As I mentioned earlier, whole world eventually disappear. So humanity on this planet eventually disappear. So these are maybe some sort of indication of beginning. So as I mentioned earlier, you see a certain problem you can't avoid, then no need too much worry. Day-to-day life, year by year, we should be honest, truthful. So while remaining, you see, I think few generations, we should create happy humanity on the basis of Indian thought. Over 2,000 years, India developed ahimsa. Ahimsa related with karuna. So this ancient Indian thought, karuna, ahimsa, now is part of your own tradition. We also is a disciple of Indian tradition, so we also practice these things. So therefore, now we should develop our world more compassionate human society. Because you see, the Western education very much sort of materialistic sort of oriented. In West, you see, when some mental problem, emotional problem, they only, you see, recite God, God, God. So that's also useful. The feeling of God keeps their hope. So those people from the West, whenever they find some desperate situation, their first expression is God, God, God. Now here in this country, as I mentioned earlier, in order to develop ahimsa, karuna, and also over 1,000 years, almost 3,000 years, this country already developed, you see, shamatha, meditation, single-pointed meditation, and also vipassana, analytical meditation. So ancient Indian literature, all sort of tradition, the Hindu tradition, Sangha tradition, and then Jain tradition, and Buddhist tradition, we all, you see, have the tradition, meditation. Through meditation, try try to increase mind, peaceful mind, then karuna, and then analytical meditation, analyze, everything analyze. So now modern time, when we face certain problem, I feel we should use ancient Indian tradition. Usually I sort of mentioning the hygiene of physical, the modern sort of medical system, very good. But hygiene of emotion, only in Indian tradition, hygiene of emotion. In order to carry hygiene of emotion, you should know the whole system of emotion. So that is a unique thing about India's culture. So now world need these ancient Indian knowledge about our mind, about our emotion, then how to tackle this emotion. And India's one, I think, great tradition is secular. Although these information come from religious text, but itself the subject of academic subject or subject of healing our emotion. So therefore, you see, India, according in India's secular way, and consider these are academic subject, not religious subject. Although all these information come from religious text, but we should take these academic subject like that. So I often, you see, telling, expressing that India, very rich, in ancient time, very rich knowledge about our mind, about our emotion. As I mentioned earlier, ahimsa, karuna. So India have the opportunity and ability to combine modern education and ancient Indian education or knowledge about inner world. Western modern education about material, external thing. Ancient Indian knowledge about our inner world. So therefore, now time come, our Indian brothers, sisters should pay more attention about 1,000-year-old India's sort of knowledge, now how to tackle our emotion, how to develop peace of mind, like that. So many, as I already mentioned, many spiritual tradition, and then later Buddhism. In Buddhism, you see, Pali tradition and Sanskrit tradition. Sanskrit tradition, after Buddha, eventually Nalanda developed, carrying Sanskrit tradition. Sanskrit tradition is very much emphasis reasoning, not a faith, just a faith. So Buddha himself, you see, told us, "Oh, my follower, monk or nuns should not accept my teaching out of faith, but rather thorough investigation and experiment." So that Buddha's teaching is a very scientific way. He emphasizes on reason, not faith. So therefore, you can see all Nalanda masters like Nagarjuna, Arya Asanga, Chandrakirti, Dharmakirti, Dignac, all these great masters are, say, so academician, great practitioner of Buddha Dharma, but they approach the Buddha Dharma always reasoning. If they find some contradiction in Buddha's own word, we reject. Like Nagarjuna, this great master of Nalanda, say, some Buddha's teaching we cannot accept because this goes against the reason, like that. So therefore, the Nalanda tradition is an Indian tradition. Sanskrit, India's ancient language. We have, you see, about 100 volume translated, 100 volume about Buddha's own teaching, translated from Pali, some books from Pali, then rest of many books translated from Sanskrit. Then Nalanda masters, you see, they are sort of commentary about Buddha's teaching, altogether about 200 volumes, altogether 300 volumes. We study many of these books. So ancient Indian sort of knowledge. Now I think time come, as the previous century, Mahatma Gandhiji, ahimsa, non-violence, you see, he practiced within the country, then show the rest of the world India's struggle non-violent way. So South African, like Bishop Tutu and Nelson Mandela, they follow Gandhiji's ahimsa. And then America, also Martin Luther King. So many great leaders, you see, they very much sort of impressed the Mahatma Gandhiji's non-violent way. So now, today, 21st century, India, I feel India have greater potential to offer whole world about how to take care about our emotion, how to keep peace of mind, not through just prayer, but through analyze. So now you Indian, firstly, within country, in education field, the education about our mind or emotion, these things, as an academic subject. Then India can, as I mentioned earlier, combine modern education and spiritual, ancient Indian, also the education combined. Then you can offer, you can show rest of the world. I think today's world, too much problem about emotion. So that creates unnecessary problem. So in Western education, only pray, not much sort of education, how to deal with our emotion. So India, I feel that you still kept those ancient Indian knowledge, now make more, it should make available about this information, how to tackle inner emotion, and how to keep peace of mind. Okay. So I spent over now 60 years. I stay in this country. When I first came as a refugee, one way sad, but one way India is our original spiritual place. So we feel happy. And then plus this most populated democratic country with the rule of law. India, West India, like Punjabi, and then South India, Karnataka state, all these different language, and then East India, Assam, this area, different language, different sort of writing, script. But India, all these different sort of people, different culture, different language, live happily in union of India. So now this country, I really also appreciate in modern time, India still kept this ancient knowledge, meantime a fully democratic country. So only two nations, most populous nation, China and India, over 7 billion population. India, China, ups and downs too much. But India kept democracy and rule of law. So the China, great nation, and historically, China, Buddhist country, many Buddhist temples in China. But now, recently, it's too much ups and downs. But human, also the emotion. Now today, China, the number of followers of Buddhism, about 400 millions. So now eventually join China, India, more or less same culture. So I think we can make a significant contribution regarding peace of world. Firstly, peace of Asia, then peace in Middle East, then Africa, Latin America. I always admire the spirit of European Union. And First World War, Second World War, there's too much killing among the European countries. For example, French and German. Historically, they are truly arch enemy. But then, after Second World War, under the leadership of de Gaulle and Adenauer, they now, also the fighting, killing is no use, outdated. Instead of that, we should develop union of Europe. So since the European Union developed the last few decades, no longer any violence. So I often used to express, like European Union, the Latin America, Africa, too big. You can imagine Northern African Union, East African Union, something like that. So I think we should think some kind of union. So this country already you have union. So therefore, now I usually express, I'm son of India. So I proudly express that. One occasion, few years ago, one occasion, some sort of journalist met, and one journalist used to ask me, why you express you are son of India? Then I mentioned my brain, each part of my brain cell filled by Nalanda thought. That's Indian.